What we need to do is keep convincing ourselves that we're right, getting more and more conviction and support every day so that we can wave off this nonsense we hear all the time, even though those people actually believe what they're saying as they're slowly killing themselves and poisoning themselves. That's the truth. The evidence is there. I've seen it. You've all seen it. You've seen real studies. You've seen real people on YouTube, real carnivores go through transformations and heal from things that the medical community tells us is impossible. So when you see something with your own eyes happen, or it happens to you, even better, and you see your A1C go from 8 to 5.1, and you don't need insulin anymore, and you feel great, when some doctor tells you diabetes is not curable, you have to look at that guy and say, you are a fraud. You're a quack. Sometimes you got to bet your life on the fact that they're stupid and you're not. And even then, you don't know if you're right. Who knows what caused my stroke? Who knows if I'll have another one? I poisoned myself for 75 years. Did a lot of damage. So you make your bet, you place your bet, and you see what happens. And from all the evidence now, I'd rather do it my way than listen to them because of crap that comes out of their mouths. And the answer to their questions that I ask them, medical questions, biology questions, biochemistry questions, they don't know. Where did the shit you're advising me of come from? They all refer back to that phony Crestor test that says statins lower your heart disease rate by 40%. No, they don't. No, they don't. I've said this so many times. David Diamond shows you in chart form. It lowers, according to their test, which God knows how it was done, or even if it's accurate. It's the best test they came up with in those days. In actual numbers, being on the statin reduced your risk of a heart disease by 0.5%. That's it, 0.5%. That 1,000 people, as an example, in the test. And those on the statin, of the 1,000 people on the statin, 8 of them, only 8 of them had heart disease. 8 out of 1,000. And of the people that were not on the statin, 13 out of 1,000. Think about that. You're in a group of 1,000 people. That's noise. That's random. And that has nothing to do with the statin. Those people are all different. 8 of them died who weren't taking the statin. 13 of them had heart disease that were taking it. What's the difference? If you're in the rest of that group of 1,000 people and somebody said, well, listen, man, the worst that could happen, according to our test, is 13 out of 1,000 people are going to get heart disease. Don't you think you want at least that advantage? And you say, well, not from what I heard. I heard that the side effects of these statins are causing more damage than anything. And then you find out that anybody who had an adverse effect to the statin was removed from the study. 20-some% of the people had side effects so bad they had to quit the study. So of the 8 people who took the statins that were left, they didn't include the 20% of the people that couldn't take the statins. You want to risk your health on that? So how do you get to the 40%, Mitch, you would say? Well, isn't that obvious? Isn't that obvious that the results of our study showed 8 people who took the statins, 8 people didn't have heart disease, and 13 people did. Come on. Isn't 8 40% less than 13? Let that sink in. Isn't 8 40% less than 13? You say, oh my God, it is. Okay then. Being on a statin reduces your risk of heart disease by 40%. What we're now telling you is it reduces the 40% is 40% of nothing, basically, of statistically insignificant numbers. Because let's not look at who got heart disease, whose numbers are in the single and double digits. Let's, of the 1,000 people, start looking at it from the angle of who didn't get heart disease, whether they took the statin or not. Now we're talking about almost 1,000 people, minus either 8 or 10. That's how they do it. And the entire statin industry and cholesterol bullshit came from that insignificant difference of how many out of 1,000 people either got heart disease or didn't. And I still to this day say, that's random statistical noise. That small group of people. You don't even know if it was the statin that made the difference. They might have had a little genetic difference. It could have been anything. Could have been anything. But they weren't looking for real results. They were looking for an excuse to con the human race into Ansel Keys' idea, which has been disproven so many times, that saturated fat connecting to diet and heart disease and cholesterol as the demons. And look what we got. Look what we got now. We got a human race that is going extinct if it continues. So knowledge of reality is what we've got going for us. And all we need to do is learn how to execute it and make it pleasurable for us. And we lose the cravings. We lose having food hounding us all the time. And we feel better. We lose weight, even though we didn't do this to lose weight. Well, yes, we did. Everybody did. But you do it for your health and your health. As you get healthy, your body will lose weight. Normally. That's how they market Ozempic so successfully. Because you lose weight. It was a diabetes drug. Ozempic was put on the market, and they noticed a side effect. Wow, these people got on Ozempic to control the diabetes and losing weight. Well, yeah, we're screwing with the levels of glucagon-like peptide, GLP, in their body. Of course, they're going to lose weight. Well, we could make $1 trillion more if we just market this as a weight loss drug, because that would be everybody. Now we're stuck with just the diabetics. Although at the rate we're going, pretty soon we're going to have everybody being a diabetic. And how can we get the kids to need this too? Maybe we can get them to put it in the drinking water like they want to do with statins. These people are crazy. They're lunatics. They're mad scientists. And we listen to them and suffer the consequences. And I rail about it every day. Rant about it. But it's true. We need to get this thoroughly implanted in our knowledge, in our brains, and not doubt ourselves, and not let some doctor in a white coat with a stethoscope, because of his image and the way we ever revered these doctors as the smartest of us. They're not. They're not. They're like anybody else. Your doctor's no smarter than you. Medical profession is just a better money machine to be in, but he's no smarter than you. In fact, probably, unless he's a carnivore, not as smart as any of you. So that's enough ranting for today. I said this before. I'll keep saying it. I think it's something that we need to continue to hear, and we can't hear it too often. Take the rest of the day and tomorrow off and eat meat.